Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. I'm very excited for this video. It's all about where you should travel to next. I know a lot of people nowadays really love to travel, even though there's been issues with the planes lately. Thankfully I do not fly, but that does not mean that you cannot. Anyway, in this reading, there are 3 stacks like usual. There are 6 tarot cards in each stack, as well as 1 card from the Starcodes Astro Oracle deck from each stack, and then also the Cosmic Dancer Oracle deck. There's 1 of those cards in each stack as well. If you do not feel drawn to any of these stacks here, that's okay. It just might not be the video for you. I have plenty of other pick a card reading videos all throughout my Brittney Holistic Healing YouTube channel. But here is stack 1A, stack 2B, stack 3C. You can pause if you like and if you need some more time to figure out which stack you are most drawn to. Also, everything that I state in this video and everything that I talk about is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. Alright, let's get right into the video. Hello 1A and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. I will say, out of everyone here, out of all of the stacks, your stack is the most upbeat. And that isn't to say it's bad that the others aren't as upbeat, you know, but there's a lot more, I'm hearing hope and possibility, and I have, the giddy energy. So I'm really excited about this. So, first of all, I have to say, I need to mention this 2 of Cups here, because I feel like I was going to try and start with the Sage of Swords being reversed. The Sage is like the King of Swords in reverse. But the 2 of Cups is drawing me, so I want to talk about that first. And of course, there are different parts of this reading that I will talk about, and not everything will apply to you. Bits and pieces probably will. But for 2 of Cups upright, I think that some of you will travel next with a romantic partner, but the other parts of you will probably travel for more creative or artistic reasons. So in terms of, and also I'll mention this too, some of you maybe, because it's 2 of Cups, will travel for a destination wedding. I don't get the sense of that very strongly at all, but since that is here and even the world is right underneath it, I'll just say, and also the Fool with new beginnings, for some of you that will apply. So if that does apply for you, then that means don't travel until you travel for your destination wedding if you know that you are having one or are wanting to have one. But I wonder, I'm trying to get a sense of those of you who will be traveling, I don't want to say this. So some of you, ooh, my necklace. Do you hear that, my zipper? Okay, that has not been acting up until right now. Interesting. Spirit, you're trying to distract me? Well, here's the thing. When I did pull these cards, it felt like there was a lot of, chaotic energy in a way, and I'll get to that, especially with the Youth of Swords and the Sage of Swords really being in reverse. But for those of you who are traveling with a romantic partner, I feel that many of you have not, maybe this is the first time you'll travel internationally. I have to bring up the world, because with the world, I mean, really, this means that the next time you travel will very, very likely be somewhere in a very completely different part of the world. It could be in a different part of your country, especially if you and your partner are not very well traveled. But I'm really not getting a sense of that. I feel like it will be it could be on the complete opposite half of the world is what I'm sensing, anywhere. I mean, especially if you do live in America. I know a lot of people who watch my videos are more so from America. If I look at the statistics. So then if that's the case, then going somewhere, I'm especially getting a sense of, Africa for some reason. Africa, Middle East, and Asia. If you go to Europe, it would have to be somewhere, I'm not getting a sense of it being very English-speaking. That doesn't mean you can't, though, but that's just what I'm sensing. And then, if you live in those parts of the world, then America is a great option for you, or else, anywhere really in South America, Central America too, but South America, especially the upper half of South America, I'm getting a good vibe for some of you. But again, traveling anywhere that's very far away, and likely you will have to travel by, I mean, I guess yacht or boat. I don't think you can travel that far from yacht, but like a ship, a cruise ship, or more specifically a plane. But I don't really see cars being a main focus of how you get to this destination. But I see this being with somebody who is a romantic partner of yours that you have not traveled with overseas or for a long distance before, or on a plane. Or maybe it's been a very long time since you have done that. For the very select few of you, you could meet a romantic partner, even if it's a one-time thing, on this trip, and that could be a part of your experience, and that could help you, like, let loose, I should say. And the let loose theme is a really big theme of this, especially with those swords and reverse cards, and I'll get to that. But also, what I said before was with the Two of Cups upright, I think some of you will be traveling for creative purposes, and I don't know how to explain it except for just for gaining inspiration for your creative endeavors. I think a lot of you actually probably do something more creative for work, even if it's just a side gig, but especially for main job energy, I'm feeling like. This can also indicate actually moving somewhere else that better aligns with your creative interests, or that you will be able to have a sustainable lifestyle with being able to do this creative career that you have in mind. But yeah, I'm getting a sense, if you do travel, or when you do next travel, I don't think it would be a good idea to be in a big group. Again, either you or the other person, because even if you are able to see here, right next to the Two of Cups is the Fool. And the Fool, I mean, he has, like a dog by him. But I see that when you travel, you should bring, sometimes I pick up the imagery with the cards. Usually I don't gain too much inspiration from the cards with the imagery, but in the case today, I really have been, like, it's been helping aid me. I feel like if you go, or the next time you do go traveling, it should be either you alone or you with, like, a significant other. More specifically, it could be a family or friend, but I'm getting more of a sense of a romantic partner, or just you going by yourself. And I'm getting a sense that you should bring the least amount as possible, or if you're moving, you should travel and move with the least amount as possible. And I'm seeing, too, that with the Ace of Pentacles being reversed, I see this being something that, excuse me, is going to drain your bank account a lot. When I pull the Ace of Pentacles, I'm like, ooh, either you won't have much money when you decide to go on this trip, or it will drain your bank account a lot. And so I feel like you will need to be very frugal on this trip. You should not be overspending, and don't focus on the luxury. I feel like this is more of an experience that you should have. How do I explain this? It should be more of an focus on the experience rather than the luxury, if that makes sense. So focus on how you feel inspired on the trip and how you feel fulfilled. Don't focus on being at the fanciest hotel or getting the fanciest foods. I think you'll have the best experiences, or more life impacting experiences, for the things that are like the little things, but also, yeah, like the little and moderate things will actually make a bigger impact, I feel like. And so that means also doing things that are more on a smaller scale, I think, will actually be very important. And I see there being moments that pop up that will be very unexpected. I think there will be a lot of things that could also go wrong, but if you have a positive mindset, I actually see it being something that could be funny, is the outlook I'm getting, or something that you don't even worry about. Because, okay, I'll go to these swords energies now, because the King of Swords, or Sage of Swords in reverse, and the Youth of Swords in reverse, I think some of you will travel on impulse. Like, it will be something where you don't have much planning beforehand. And with the Ace of Pentacles too, it's like not planning with the financials or the logistics beforehand. It could be something where you go randomly, or you just feel like you need to get away. I see it being very much more an impulsive decision, and without much, if any, planning. Like, for example, maybe if there's also just, like, a good deal, you're like, okay, well, I'll just take time off or whatever. But I see it being something where you're not planning it, and it happening very quick and very sudden. And this could be something, too, where, like, if you are with a romantic partner and they decide to go on a trip, and they're like, I want to go tomorrow. And that impacts you, so you're like, okay, I'll do this. And you partake in this adventure with them. I feel, so earlier I talked about letting loose, and that's especially what I feel as well with these swords cards being in reverse. I feel like a lot of you really need to let loose, and I'm not getting a sense of this being a trip that you relax on. I see it being actually very adventure packed and like exploring the culture of where you are going to be at. And there's like a sense of newness to this place, so even if you've been here before, I see it being somewhere where you go and you still experience things that you didn't before, and you do new things. But there's a lot of newness and excitement, so I suggest going somewhere you haven't gone before, or again, if you're going to the same place, doing a lot different of things than before, not doing the same things. And the same goes with your partner as well, if like they're the one that ultimately chooses, or if you both choose together. But I get a sense of letting loose, having fun, and not worrying about consequences, being very in the moment and being very present. And I just see it being a very fun and happy time, even if a lot of things go unexpected or not as planned, or again, if you, because of lack of planning, you could maybe forget important things, like birth control or something, right? That would be not great. So you just have to be careful and navigate through that. But I don't see it being anything like super dangerous. Or here's the thing. I think for some of you do have to be careful. There could be some danger involved. But I see it being you getting out of it and being like unscathed by it. And then looking back, you'd be like, oh, that actually was kind of spooky ooky. So just be careful. But I see this overall being a very good, fun, and happy time. I will move over to the oracle cards now. It takes some time for me to read through the guidebook, so I'm just going to do that. First, well, I'll say what I'm picking up on intuitively from those oracle cards as well later, but I'm going to read from the guidebook first. So it says solar calm. When the sun is calm with few sunspots or solar flares, its steady energy is quiet and soothes any turbulence in our solar system. The volume is turned down on all the other aspects of your astrological chart. Telescopes see farther into space. People tend to search for the metaphysical. Plant growth slows down on Earth, but the arts and creative processes see the creativity often blossom. Politics tend to be opinionated but quiet. Attitudes more entrenched. It's a hard time to start a revolution. Action. Just appreciate the deep, energizing quiet of this time. Work for steady progress and play the long game. Listen to your muse and support the arts. Take a creative approach and work toward positive change within the systems that are now in place with gentle, steady pressure. Find like minds and grow those deep connections. Listen to the quieter voices that are not usually heard, whether this is the whispering voice of your intuition or the subtle voice of the introverts or underrepresented. In romantic relationships, hold hands and look for places of quiet refuge together. Wow. Build relationships now that will help you to manifest needed changes when the tide turns and the sun activates. So, I know I said that I see it being very action-packed, but I also, how I recognize that there will be the small and the moderate moments that will be very important too. Focus on those places of quiet as well. And again, I didn't even read in the guidebook beforehand, so this is very, on point. Very validating for me. Love that. And yeah, I see this being a good time to get closer to your significant other if you do go on an adventure with your significant other. I'm just reading through this again. Yeah, just I'm trying to think about the creativity. Some of you also may feel burnt out. So you may also want to get recharged with new creative energy, and that could be why you end up going on this vacation or trip. So just keep that in mind. But it also says challenge. It is not the time to push ahead or spark change. If you try to motivate practical change in your life or try a totally new approach, it can feel like trying to light a match in the fog. Be patient, the fog will clear in time. Gift. Meditation helps. Turn down the noise of the outer world and listen with clarity to the knowing within. Let go of the details of the story and feel the call to spirit, to connection, and to the interconnectedness of all existence. In this quiet clarity, you can see far away to the distant stars and come to understand the overarching patterns. Yeah, so really with going with the flow, you could also, the impulsivity could be connected definitely to your intuition as well, where you feel drawn to go to certain places, and it could be very sudden. But now let's go to the Cosmic Dancer Oracle deck. Ooh, dropped it. Let's see, number 42, more toward the back. There we go, right to it. 42, be magnetized. The magnetic desire you feel is divine in nature. The energy of attraction toward a path, person, hobby, place, practice, culture, or something else is what propels and perpetuates your growth and expansion. This card asks you to pay close attention to what you are naturally drawn toward, and then to move fearlessly in that direction. Wow. The magnetism you feel, which may take the form of curiosity, interest, or excitement, is a cosmic message that something beautiful is awaiting your discovery. Even if you don't understand or can't foresee where this compelling force of attraction is leading you, allow yourself to be driven by it, and you will experience powerful alignment with your true purpose and path. Is there a relationship, project, undertaking, or endeavor that your heart wants to invest in, but your mind tells you there's some reason why you shouldn't? For example, some people talk themselves out of going back to school by saying they're too old. Don't pursue a dream because it's too risky, or avoid yoga because they're not flexible. If you can identify a storyline for yourself, it's great news. It means you now have the ability to step out of the self-sabotaging narrative so you can acknowledge your dream and bring it into form. The benefits of following this magnetic inner guidance are immense. You will begin moving with the current of your dreams, which will propel you toward your ideal life. You will also I thought it said burned for a second. You will also burst out of ruts and begin to transcend long-standing patterns of boredom, stagnation, anxiety, and depression. Be assured that like attracts like. By honoring the magnetic force within you, you will activate and increase your magnetism. You will feel and be more dynamic and attractive, and all forms of positivity and blessings, such as wealth, romance, happiness, and success, will naturally be drawn to you. So I just want to pause here, because with the Two of Cups upright too, I wonder if some of you have gone out of a relationship. So now's the time of focusing on you. This could be a good time to heal those wounds as well. If you have gone out of a recent relationship and then healing those wounds and realizing that you still are worthy of love, even if it will take time for you to get to that point again where you are in a relationship. Okay. So, feel this natural momentum and magnetism by standing with your feet slightly more than hip distance apart, knees slightly bent. Begin to twist your torso back and forth at a steady pace, rotating from the mid-lower spine. Relax your arms and hands completely, letting them naturally careen through the air and wrap around your middle as you twist to one side and then the other. Notice how your arms extend outward as you twist, and then at the furthest point, connect with your abdomen and back. Feel the natural pull of this force, the enlivening moment, and the interconnectedness throughout your heart, your belly, and your mind. Your body's messages will steer you toward your most significant life experiences. Drop into your body and check in with your dreams to notice where you feel the pull. Say yes to your enthusiasm and bless your life with indescribable joy. Awesome. So I will leave that there with you, 1A. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. You can subscribe to my channel if you'd like to. It really helps my channel a lot. You can also like the video if you liked it. You can comment down below if you chose this stack and if it resonated with you. And you can also comment down below if you chose this stack, and then comment again in the future if you took any of my advice, or if you did take this trip, you can tell me about it and if it resonated with this in any way. Also, across all of my socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, except for I do not have a Twitter or X account. But I will leave it at that. Thank you so much for, again, watching and listening, and take care. Hello, 2B, and welcome to your part of the Pick a Card reading video. So, the first thing I want to say is that with this, from the very first card that I put down, I felt a lot of heavy energy and like sadness, like weight on shoulders, heavy in the chest type of feeling. I do want to mention too right away that with Three of Wands being upright, that means that Spirit recommends that for your next travel place, you travel far, you should travel by plane. It can be you can travel far, like by driving. It'll just take a long time to get there. So if somewhere far away, it can be within your country. With Three of Wands, usually it has to do with being in a different country and in a different place altogether, very different from where you are now. So that's just the sense I'm getting. For some of you, though, I feel like it will actually be still within the country, but just much further from where you live or where you currently are, and different from anywhere you've maybe been before. Trying to see here. Oh, also with the Oracle cards, I will get to those later. And I'll read in the guidebook what they say as well. But I will say, when I think of Six of Pentacles, I think some of you, maybe not some of you, a select few of you maybe will travel for charity purposes. I just have to say that because Six of Pentacles is known as like a charity card. So you could travel for charity purposes. I think many of you will travel actually for family purposes. And I feel like for a lot of you, it will feel very like this is something that you need to do. I want to throw this out there before I forget. So, especially with this Five of Cups being pulled, I had this energy, or I was getting this message before I pulled that card, but really pulling that card solidified it for me, where I feel that many of you will travel as it relates to loss. So, if you have lost a loved one recently, you may travel to clear your mind, or you may travel to... It can be any type of loved one, like a friend, family member, a pet, a romantic partner. But after the passing of a loved one, you may travel in relation to them because of, like, maybe seeing their family or friends, like connecting with them, or connecting to where they grew up, or like traveling to where they're buried. I wonder if you have moved away and now you have to go back to where you once were, or to where that person moved to, or just, I feel like for some of you, you aren't if this involves loss, I'm not going to be on this the whole time, but if you have lost a loved one, I feel like many of you have not been in the same physical location as them, and I'm not talking about like the same home, but I think not even like the same state, or somewhere like on opposite ends of a state, or province, or county, or region. But I feel that there already was probably a distance, and so if there's like a funeral, you may have to travel for that. Or maybe again, it doesn't have to be so sudden. Maybe this person's been gone for a little bit, and so now you're traveling, or you're traveling in some way to honor them. Maybe they always want to go to Italy, so you decide to go to Italy, just as an example. Or you travel somewhere that connects to their personality in some way, or their heritage or culture. But I see in some way that some of you maybe are traveling as it relates to loss. Even if it's been a while, that doesn't mean, loss can affect us for up until we ourselves are no longer here in this current lifetime on planet Earth. So for some of you, I'm getting a sense that this trip, though, isn't something that a lot of you maybe even want. I do want to bring up, too, now, some of you maybe will be traveling for family. So, and I think for a lot of you, what I want to bring up, well, I just want to make sure, I have the other stack 3 nearby. I want to make sure I'm not getting anything in relation to that onto here. Because sometimes there's some parts of the third stack that I thought a little bit of this stack, so I'm just making sure I'm not going to say what I'm saying. I should probably move this away so that the energies do not blend. Okay, I can't even think. For some reason, I feel like Spirit is blocking me from even being able to think about this stack right now. They're like, just move it away. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, where was I at now? See, it's weird because I do have kind of like a brain fog. I wonder if a lot of you have been in like kind of a sad funk lately. You've been feeling very stuck and very stagnant. I just feel a lot of like sad energy, so I'm really sorry if that's the case. But anyway, I want to talk about what I was going to say. Some of you maybe are traveling for family, or you will be traveling for purposes of, like, you know how some people who are part of certain religious or spiritual practices travel to certain locations because it connects to their spirituality, or sometimes people, like, if you have ancestry in a certain place and you want to, like, for example, like Rhett McLaughlin, he always thought he was Scottish, so they went to Scotland. He brought his family to Scotland some many years ago, and then they found out they're technically actually Irish. But anyway, so it's like going on a trip to a place of your ancestry, or to where family members used to live. Even if it's not related to your ancestry, but I feel like for many of you that would be the case, where it does relate to your ancestry in some way, or to the location of where somebody had an experience, or even if you had an experience in this place. But I think for a lot of you haven't traveled to this place before, but there's a sense of like kind of being scared or very apprehensive to go there for some reason. So it's kind of like a trip or traveling out of necessity for something or for someone. And I'm just gonna, it's very heavy. It's very interesting. And we have 2 of those 6s here. With 6 of Swords being upright, Swords is all about change, but not only change, another key word for the 6 of Swords is transition. So I think a lot of you are going through a transition period in your life right now where it's just things are very heavy or in flux, and maybe things have just put a big damper on your life lately. So you just need to, for some of you, maybe this trip is necessary for you to get out of your comfort zone or to get out of this rut. And that's not to say you won't necessarily have a good time, but I feel like maybe some of you will be pressured by other people to go on this travel adventure if you don't want to or if you're not ready to. So be careful about people trying to push you past your boundaries as well, especially with the Judgment being in reverse. It says beyond judgment, actually, but with that being in reverse too, people could misread you or try to like take advantage of you in some way, or to try to manipulate you into doing certain things, going somewhere when you don't feel comfortable doing so. So be very careful about that. I feel like that could be a bad situation. But with the transition, I just feel like a lot of you are being very apprehensive to allow the changes in transition to occur. And for some of you, it really makes sense for you to not want to allow certain changes or transitions to occur. And maybe it's very scary right now. And maybe on the other side, you know, it won't be pretty or happy, but it's a necessary thing. So something you can at least do for yourself in this moment is to try and at least do something to uplift your spirits. And we do have the Man of Wands here too, which is a very adventurous energy. So I do feel like you do have the opportunity to really, I feel like this is more of an opportunity to learn and grow in some way. And so I see and sense that there is an opportunity for you to learn and grow in these transitions, and hopefully it can help you with any grief or loss that you're experiencing. And that can even be grief or loss as it just pertains to you. It doesn't even have to be about other people. Let's say, I mean, it could be losing a job, it could be losing a pet or a loved one, or it could be a loss of self in a way. Maybe you've done a lot of journaling, or you've been going to a therapist and you've realized certain things about your past and or present, and that makes you, you know, like any form of grief, and that includes of the self and of anything you've gone through, and like understanding situations that have happened in your life. It's like there's a grieving process in that. So part of this loss or grief that I'm sensing could be related to you, if that's the case, where you've been doing the work on yourself, but you're in that period of grief and maybe mourning your younger self, or mourning the person you used to be, or mourning your current self. Maybe you don't like the person you are and you're trying to, and maybe you've been realizing there's aspects of yourself that you don't find very admirable, and that makes you very upset. So this could be a way of just learning and growing and expanding your knowledge, and hopefully just becoming a better person on the other side of this, or having less of a heavy energy about you. Because with the Six of Pentacles too, it's not only about charity. I think of the Six of Pentacles a lot like how I think of the Two of Pentacles, where I think in the traditional tarot, they both have like those balance beams, where it's like you should balance out your energies. Like, you don't always have to be so sad all the time, and that doesn't mean that you should be toxic positivity, Mr., Mrs., they, them, toxic positivity over here. But there's a way to balance that out, so you don't have to be in such a rut. You don't have to be feeling stagnant or stuck or sad or depressed. You are allowed to have fun. You are allowed to do things. Even if you are in this period of being sad, that doesn't mean you can't have moments of happiness and of pleasure. So that's like the main takeaway and key right here. Also with the Six of Swords, I should say, some of you, this trip that you go on will be a transition period for you. And that's why I also wanted to say some of you maybe will be moving. This can indicate moving in general, and especially somewhere far away from where you are now. And I see for some of you, like again, some of you, maybe this doesn't feel like a good thing you want to do, but it feels like you maybe have to do it. Like an example could be if your partner wants to move, but you don't want to, but they have to move for their work, and you can maybe work from home, so you can work anywhere. Like, that's just an example. So I see with this transition, like, I see there being good qualities of it, but I see it also taking a lot out of you. And so that's also what I want to say too, though, is like, see the positives and negatives not only of this trip, but of life in general. And this trip will help you hopefully to balance things out in your mind, and also to see not only the bad, but also the good, and vice versa. Those are the main messages I think that Spirit wants me to say. I'm going to go to the guidebooks now. It takes me some time to read through them. So we will start with 44, which is 6th house, which is Virgo energy. I have not read in the guidebooks yet, so we'll have to see what they say. If your chart were a village map, the 6th house would represent the central kitchen, gym, health clinic, and dog park. The 6th house speaks where you live out your daily habits, your work environment and your pets, your mind-body connection, and how you tend your health. Action. Work smarter, not harder. The opposite of a dysfunctional situation is a sustainable ecosystem. Make your life sustainable. Look at the time, resources, love, care, and sweat you put into your life, and assess whether you are putting as much in as you get out, and whether you're receiving as much as you put in. The input and output have to match. Maybe not every day, but certainly every week or month, or you cannot sustain the long haul. That's like what I was just saying before I read through the guidebook too. The 6th house concerns your daily work, not necessarily your vocation or longed-for career. If you're waiting tables to support your acting career, the 6th house speaks both of your day job and what you do toward that dream. Put in some time and effort on your dreams, and bring these two paths closer to being one and the same. I have to say too, some of you, the transition could be, I forgot to mention this, and I was thinking about this before I started your reading. I can't believe I forgot this. Especially with the 6th house right there, but I wasn't looking at the oracle cards. But some of you, this transition could be about work, or maybe you're feeling really stuck in work, so you want to maybe get a new job, or even switch like careers in general, where you maybe have to go back to school. So I see this being a time of trying to weigh out the pros and cons of that, but I see for many of you, changing careers or changing job locations would be of a benefit for you, and especially if that's somewhere where you have to change jobs, like move somewhere else, even if it's moving within the city but you just want to be closer. I see this being a shift that would be necessary but hard at first, but still necessary. So assess your work environment. Besides the money and professional trajectory, I will say some of you also will just have to travel for work. Travel somewhere, or maybe you often travel for work. But anyway, assess your work environment. Besides the money and professional trajectory, most jobs offer an opportunity to bump souls with others, a stage to work through karma and round out our personalities. Camaraderie can help to create a healthy work environment. Attitude makes all the difference. Watch where you put your mind. Nervousness can turn into chronic anxiety, which taxes the health. Give your mental hamsters something worthy to work on and keep them from merely spinning. Look at your daily habits and invest in good self-care. Make healthy food delicious and healthy activity enjoyable. Play with the dog or talk to the wild birds. Time with animals can restore the spirit as well as be great exercise. So being with animals around this time could be very healing for you as well. Challenge. Worry can give you the illusion that you're taking care of business, but it does not further your goals. Gift. You can create a beautiful and sustainable ecosystem out of your life as you pursue a delicious, healthy work-life balance. Yes, all about the balance. So now, the Cosmic Dancer Oracle deck. Let's go to 22 here. Oh, it's almost there. Okay. 22, commit. Make a clear choice and commit fully in thought, word, and action. When you are grounded in clear intention and you commit with impeccable integrity and dedication, the universe instantly mirrors that vibration back to you to support you in the most effective way at the highest possible level. If you aren't grounded in a crystal clear intention, perhaps feeling uncertain or wishy-washy about where you're going or how you intend to get there, the universe will mirror that back to you too. While it is sometimes appropriate to let go of attachment to outcome and trust conditions to unfold as they will, you have been born into this earthly experience to forge a unique path and manifest conditions according to your specific desires. And now it is a time when your soul will most benefit from doing just that. Teachers of various forms of classical Indian arts have a saying, technique is freedom. If you have seen a master ballerina letting emotion and inspiration flow through her body while executing moves with stunningly perfect form. You have witnessed this dynamic in action. Through her art, the dancer's unwavering commitment unlocks a new level of freedom for her, simultaneously bringing a uniquely liberating current of energy into the world. Similarly, just as diamonds are formed out of carbon by intense pressure and heat, your commitment serves as a strong force that will transform your efforts into eternal treasures of sparkles and light. This is as true in your dance or yoga practice as it is in every other aspect of your life. Don't worry about making a wrong decision. The only wrong choice is the one you don't make. Once a decision is made, whether it's about a course of study, your art, your career, a relationship, a positive habit, or any form of self-cultivation, you will find your power and passion are activated. Allow this to fuel that decision with single-minded purpose and to recharge your commitment on the days when you could use a little extra motivation. The following embodied practice will help you get clear in your intention or otherwise bolster a commitment that's already in place. Stand in a wide lunge with your front knee bent, your back leg straight, and both feet pointed forward. Look straight ahead and raise your arms to a 45-degree angle. Extend your arms out in front of you and slightly angled up so that your hands are at eye level, keeping your arms elongated and straight with your elbows locked. Make your hands into blades by keeping your fingers straight and together. Bring your hands together at the thumbs, palms facing downward toward the earth. Gaze out over your fingertips and imagine a laser beam of diamond white light emanating from your third eye chakra, the area in the center of your forehead just above your eyebrows. Stay in this position for 90 seconds. Devote yourself completely to your highest visions and goals. This will fortify your self-esteem and help you create beautiful conditions in every area of your life. It will also empower you to bring blessings to the world in a way that only you can. So, that is what I have for you to be. I hope you enjoyed this reading. You can like this video if you liked it. You can comment down below and say if you chose this stack and if it resonated with you, and you can also comment in the future if you took any of my advice or if you went on any trip or plan that went along these lines. You can subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. Across all socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, except I do not have a Twitter or X account. But I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Tubi, and take care. Hello, 3C, and welcome to your part of the Pick a Card reading video. So, the oracle cards we will get to later on, and I will read from the guidebook and also provide any intuitive insights that I have. But for now, we will be focusing on the tarot cards. So, I do have to say, especially with the priest being the first card I pulled, I think some of you who pulled this are going to be traveling next when you go, like for a wedding or have your own wedding. So it can be yours or somebody else's, but that's just what I'm sensing. And if you're the one choosing where to go to, the Eight of Cups is really saying you have an ability to go somewhere else. I'm not getting a super strong sense of like the wedding stuff, but I just thought I would mention that. And it's really weird because when I first pulled these cards, the Eight of Cups, I was getting the traditional tarot imagery of the Seven of Cups, and sometimes that happens. But generally, the Eight of Cups in the upright is about walking away. So I think that many of you who chose this, the next time you travel should really be for when you move. And I talked about moving as a possibility for all the stacks, because it actually was. Well, mainly for the stack 2. Stack 1, it wasn't really as much, but for stack... Wait, what? What did I say? Stack 1, it wasn't as much of a thing. Stack 2, it was a bit, but for really, a lot of you, I think, will move with this, if you chose this. That doesn't mean all of you, so don't just click off now. What I'm going to be saying will still apply to you, but I feel that many of you with this Eight of Cups being upright with walking away, I think a lot of you need to move somewhere, or at least travel somewhere that is very different from where you are. And I'm not getting a sense that it even has to be super far, actually. With the other cards, they were indicating traveling very far, and I know the Eight of Cups imagery does have a plane. Some of you that does apply, but I think for some of you... Oh, I was just getting imagery of, some people live in the city, but then they move to the countryside or like the suburbs. I'm getting specifically a lot of you will do a lot better living in nature. If not, this spread indicates traveling out in nature, or like a woodsy or mountain area somewhere very far away from the city is where I recommend you be. But I'm gonna focus a little bit on if you are moving. I feel that if you decide to move, well, even if you're deciding to just travel, this is something, a trip or a moving plan that you should really save up for. It should be something that you think about for quite some time before you actually act upon it, and maybe you already have been doing that. But it should be something where you save up plenty of money, have plenty of money in savings so that you do not have to worry about it in the future. This should not be something that you make any impulsive decisions on. It should be something that you save up a lot of money and have a lot of backup money and just extra money for. Some of you, I wonder, I'm getting the vibe that some of you either are retiring or you're just thinking about how to set up like a 401k or any type of plan for retirement in the future. So if you have not done so, it's a good time to start planning for that. Not only just thinking about it for planning, but planning for the future and for retirement. Even if you're very young, like my age, it's a good time to start thinking about how you want to see yourself in the future. So some of you too, though, with this, maybe this isn't even the next time you will travel somewhere. I think a lot of you actually maybe don't, well, I think a lot of times people who do these kinds of videos do travel quite a bit, but I think some of you who don't travel very much, you may just not travel for such a long time that the next time you do travel will be when you move, at least traveling not just like to a different city that's like 10 minutes away, you know. I'm not talking about anything like that, of course. But again, this is something you should really plan out all of the logistics beforehand. And with the death being in reverse, that can indicate to me also like the retirement part, or it can indicate too in the future going somewhere, like going back home. Let's say you moved away from home. I can see some of you going back home, or if you grow up in an area and you stay there forever, I can see you eventually moving out, whichever one applies to you. With the Seven of Swords being here, I think a lot of you won't tell people beforehand about moving or about this trip or travel plan that you have. I see it being something that you should keep to yourself, and I see this being also a solo trip or a solo plan or a solo move. Of course, if you live with children, if you have family, like a loved one that you lived with, that would be different. I don't recommend doing that. But for a lot of you, again, whether it's just moving or the trip, you should go somewhere out in nature. Maybe some of you right now really like living in the city, but I see a lot of you being like, again, not even just in the suburb, but like out and really far out there, like on the countryside. Maybe if you are in a suburb, it should be somewhere like on an outskirts or like still very far away, like on an outskirt suburb of a larger city even. But for a lot of you, even more than just that, like I'm getting the vibes of whether it's like a trip or moving just somewhere like, again, out in the woods, like in the mountains where there's like barely anybody that lives there and your neighbors are super far away. Like everything is kind of far away from you. But I see that seclusion being important and necessary for a lot of you. And with the priest here too, the priest is usually about doing things traditionally. So I wonder if you'll, I was going to say live, but then I was like move, because move. Anyway, I think you'll be somewhere that is a more traditional place. And it might even be something you're not super used to. But I see, again, that's also why I bring up the family ties, where you could be somewhere where family lives. Maybe when you grew up and you moved away, other family members moved elsewhere. This could also indicate moving to where your relatives or other family members live and being closer to family in that way. It could also indicate that for this move or for this travel, you could travel or move. Well, again, I want to go back to the moving, because I think you could move somewhere that you feel is a much better place to settle down. And some of you, again, might not be there quite yet, but maybe you started thinking about it. So getting somewhere, moving somewhere, living somewhere where you can really settle down and you feel that you are safe. There's a big emphasis on safety too. So where you are safe and where everybody involved is safe and feels secure. And I see this being somewhere where it isn't a super expensive place to live. I see this being like a moderately priced place to live, but you still need to save up for it, of course, and plan this out. But I see it being somewhere where a lot of you, I feel like, shouldn't be living extravagantly. It should be just more like moderate or even minimalist, but I'm seeing like a very average, not in a bad way at all, by the way, like a very average living situation, which is also why it could be like a suburby type feel. So I just have to get it out of the way, though, what I was talking about with moving. I know this is about traveling, but I think a lot of you, the next, at least more major travel plan that you have could be when you decide to move. And it could be somewhere not that far away, but just, like, again, let's say, I don't know why Las Vegas is popping up, but let's say Las Vegas, because actually it's very affordable in that area. But then you don't want to live directly in Las Vegas, so you live in, oh gosh, there are different suburbs. Like, say you live in, I don't know, even Henderson or, like, Paradise, but, like, on the outskirts, or Enterprise. I think those are places. And so you live more in an outskirts area, like, very friendly neighbors. I see you being, if it's around people, I don't see you being super engaged with the neighbors, but I see you not being, like, in any sort of brawl with them, you know, but more so keeping to yourself, I think a lot of you will end up doing. And some of you, again, will live alone by yourself when you do this move. I want to talk more about the actual travel part of this, though, for those of you who maybe you don't think this applies to you in terms of moving. Maybe you're very happy with where you are with your living situation, but I just very strongly felt that for a lot of you who chose this, I had to bring these things up, these key points. It was very much the first thing Spirit wanted me to relay to you. But for those of you who that does not specifically relate to, I see you on your travels still going somewhere very far out in nature, or very, like, in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't see it being somewhere where there's a bunch of people around. I see it being something where you can also be celebrating an achievement. Like, maybe you got promoted and maybe you got a raise. Like, stuff like that could also propel you toward going on this next trip. So something like that, where it's something worth celebrating, or it's like a milestone, that would be a good time to take a travel somewhere and to, like, de-stress, relax. I don't see this being something where you do a lot, where you're very high energy. I see you doing something where you're going somewhere and relaxing, even if it's just to a hotel, like, or a spa, you know, and it's, like, in your city. Like, I honestly feel like a lot of you don't even have to travel far. It could be something where you even just take a day off work, and, I mean, I know I said within your city, but really somewhere, and all this is about traveling, but still, so somewhere close by where you can go. If it's out in nature, that would be perfect. I think it would be helpful to do something that's relaxing, though, so like a spa, like a massage, a mani-pedi, going to the hair salon and being there all day, getting your hair did, you know, whatever it is that you feel drawn to, as long as it is relaxing for you and it's not something that will put stress on you. Some of you, I think, can be kind of like trudge along, like workhorses, and some of you maybe work extra hard, some of you just maybe work the bare amount. But for both of you, it still applies, where maybe it's just like you're living day in and day out. So this is a good time to not worry about things and not think about anything and really just be. And that's why especially, like, the nature keeps popping up. Being near water, or, like, I mean, honestly, anywhere. Maybe not the desert. That's not where I'm getting the vibe, but nowhere super cold. Some of you maybe I actually think do good, like, in the cold up in the mountains, like snowy, like snowboards type stuff. But again, with this, the main emphasis isn't on doing anything extravagant in terms of the adventure part. It's really about relaxing and resting and recharging so that you can have more energy in the future. But I wonder if there's anything else I should say. That's, like, mainly it. So it can really be anywhere, and I see it being actually for a lot of you, again, not anywhere super far from where you are, and I can see a lot of you traveling by car here, or, like, you know, like an Uber or a train, like anything on land. I can see you end up doing, and something very relaxing and calming for you. So nothing too, like, extravagant for the next trip. But I'm going to go to the Oracle card decks now. I can take some time to read from them. So we have 14, debilitated. And the keyword is discomfort. If you put a well-organized city dweller deep in the wild... Oh my gosh. Okay, I swear, I did not read these beforehand. Like, the Oracle cards, I didn't read them beforehand. So like what they said in here. But okay, if you put a well-organized city dweller deep in the wild woods, they'd be accidentally debilitated, out of their element, and pushed to live up to their potential. They may be uncomfortable, but the situation offers a chance to stretch further and develop their soul. The same goes for a planet in a sign or placement that's awkward with its nature. For example, Mercury is the least mercurial when it's in Pisces, opposite the sign Virgo, which it rules. Here, Mercury can bestow a great mind, but in an intuitive mind, integrated, imaginative way, not a mind to escape in purely intellectual pursuits. Action. This time you are the invaluable sidekick. This is not your game, but you have a lot to contribute nonetheless, and the long-term benefits will be worth your efforts. Learn and listen rather than assert yourself and your opinions. Use your strength and leadership skills to support and center another person or project. Pass the ball to someone who is in position to run with it. Back up a leader, do the work behind the scenes, and bolster the team. If you're not ready to do this work, you can pass that ball and leave the field, but consider redefining your idea of success. Stay here and you can grow needed skills, expand your repertoire and contacts, and build up trust among others who can help you in the future. Everything you learn, all the contacts you make, prepare you for when it is your turn. Challenge. Whether you're an artist among the engineers or a linebacker among the ballerinas, you may struggle to apply your talents in this situation. In these moments, it's easy to slip into self-pity and self-doubt. Gift. You are being challenged to grow in ways you can't predict. You are being asked to diversify, stretch, and strengthen your weak muscles. Only you can decide if it's time to take that challenge, but this experience also encourages you to love yourself in the quiet moments and to appreciate what you bring to the table even when nobody else notices. And the nobody else notices part especially connects to the Seven of Swords to me. I feel like a lot of things for you, how I connect this with you is that this, because with the Death card being in reverse too, it can be about being uncomfortable with change or being uncomfortable with your current situation, so feeling the need to change. And I feel that many of you maybe will feel alone during this process or during this change, but I'm not getting a sense, like, I'm getting a sense of this being still very important for you to do. Here, wait, I should open this back up, because there's something in here that I wanted to touch on again. Because it talked about doing work behind the scenes. I think also how I connect this to you is doing the work behind the scenes to prepare. I talked a lot about preparing and planning for being able to do things, do this trip or plan, or to move. So I think it could be an uncomfortable process, and for some of you too, I talked about this in the second group too, but since the Death card is here and it's in reverse, some of you may be going through a loss of a loved one, or a loss of self in some way, or a job loss, but, so you may need to move because of that, or else you travel, like for a funeral as an example, but some of you maybe haven't done anything outside of yourself, like outside of your normal routine since any sort of loss has happened. So you can prepare and plan so that you don't feel the need to do anything impulsively and then regret it. You can prepare and plan for something that you would be happy to do. But I want to go to 33. Oh my god, you know what I just realized? Wait a minute. Let me look at, I saw the other stacks over here. Oh, okay. The first stack for this card was 42. For a second, I thought it was 44. But the previous one was 22. So this is 3-3. So almost all of them are angel numbers. Hi, goodness. 3-3 could be an angel number for you at this time as well. But 33, fine tune. Being in tune is being in absolute alignment with the divine source energy. As an alive and dynamic being, fine-tuning is a lifelong process. Throughout your journey, you will be called to come into greater and greater levels of balance, mastery, and joy. Like a concert cellist is awake to the tiniest adjustments required to play the most harmonious sound, you must initiate the loving shifts that will allow you to come into greater resonance with the most authentic and melodious expression of you. With absolute love, take an honest look at yourself and your life to discover what may be out of alignment. Without judging or berating yourself, become acutely aware of how you are spending your time, feeling your body, inspiring your mind, and nourishing your spirit. Do your words, actions, habits, relationships, and activities fully support your highest hopes, your spiritual values, and your regular connection with God, Goddess, all that is? Have you been aligning with the purity and truth of your divine essence and source, which is ultimately the highest and most harmonious vibration of love? Or is it possible that you've been aligning with someone else, or something else, such as fear, worldly ambition, or low self-worth? That's the energy of what that part is saying is, I think, really connects to a lot of you as well, where I think I talked about, maybe it was in the other group, I don't know, because I talked to the other group about how there's kind of a blending of energies with this group and the other group, but Some of you, I think, are feeling stuck. So this could be a way to get you out of your routine. I think breaking the cycle of routine would be important for you right now. Remember that your life is perfectly unfolding, and you have drawn this card as a loving nudge at precisely the right time. All that you have learned and mastered up to this point supports you in your journey of continued expansion, and none of this expansion would be possible without mistakes or missteps, which are immensely valuable for your soul's evolution. That's the thing, too, with the changes that happen. I wonder if some of you, like, it's because of mistakes you've made or any endings that you have caused. So just remember it's part of your soul's journey, and that everything will be okay, and that just take it one step at a time. A lot of the energy of this stack, too, again, is like going slow and steady and taking things one step at a time. But still, it can be uncomfortable to purify and release the things that keep us out of tune, particularly when they involve addictions or substances or behaviors such as codependency in relationship with others. Release all that no longer serves you and have compassion and patience with yourself during the process of upgrading your life and raising your vibration. Hold the clear inner vision of standing in sovereign, self-loving integrity, and you will not fail to become a pure channel through which divine wisdom and beauty will flow. This movement and vocalization practice will immediately bring you into greater resonance with love and source energy. Stand with your feet touching or just a few inches apart. Raise your arms above your head and touch your palms together in a high prayer pose. With straight legs and engaged core muscles, focus on your root chakra, the area at the base of your spine, and intone the sound Om, sending the vibration of the sound to this area. Repeat with each of the other 6 main chakras: your lower belly, your upper belly, or above your belly button, the middle of your sternum, your heart center, your throat, your third eye at the center of your forehead just above your eyebrows, and the crown of your head. With each Om, feel or sense the energy center healing, relaxing, balancing, and detoxifying. As you purify and uplift your vibration, you simultaneously increase your ability to channel the divine qualities of beauty, harmony, and love, and to pour them forth upon the world. That is the messages. Those are the messages, yes, that I have for you 3C. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. If you liked it, you can like it down below. You can comment down below if you chose this stack, and if it resonated with you, you can also comment down below if you chose this stack, and then comment again in the future if you took any of the advice or any of the words that I said to heart, and anything that's changed, any travel plans that you went on and how they went. You can subscribe to my channel, and that really helps me out a lot. Across all socials, it is at Brittney's Holistic Healing, except I do not have a Twitter or X account, but I will leave that there for you. Thank you so much for watching and listening again, 3C, and take care. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this video. If you liked the content, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and comment down below, as it really helps my channel out a lot. You can follow me on my socials listed here on the screen. Thank you, and blessed be.